All right, for segment 1 today, Heathen Dog wants to note that there are differences between Rift's Ultimate, Rift's, what is the original one called again? I forget what the original one's called.
Just riffs.
Yeah, there's a term that they use, there's a little acronym that they use for it, like core riffs
Well,
or like core rules or something like that. I don't know.
okay.
Anyway.
There's riffs, core rules, riffs Ultimate Edition, riffs 30th anniversary. There's a lot.
Yeah, there's all that. But the main change is in, like, because I think all the other ones are just the regular first edition book. But Rift's Ultimate probably should be called Rift's Revised.
Revised, yeah.
Yeah, going with the Palladium theme of how it's got, like first edition revised and so forth. And yeah, it didn't cause any problems for us, but it definitely had a couple of questions when we were playing the game. Like, wait a second, what's the rule for this? Well, it kind of depended on which book you were using.
Yep.
So with that in mind, let's you can find links to our social media and Discord below. Merchandise charity, if you want to donate or you want to buy a Christmas gift, you can go to our Redbubble store. Slowly but surely they're removing all my offensive stuff, so it's all pretty family friendly at this point now. But don't worry, they will be back up. I've just been too lazy to do it. And of course, if you want to watch us on alternative media, all of that is in the description below, because I know some of you folks demand Rumble, demand non-YouTubery. Again, that's our charity. It's got a QR code. You can click on that, or you can just use the link below. We keep talking about it because charity's good. We like charitable donations. And of course, we believe that role-playing games take place in fantastic worlds, and the focus of your tabletop group should be on role-playing and having a good time. Core values of #RPGate and any good tabletop community are escapism, not representation, entertainment, overactivism, and natural, organic inclusion, not forced diversity. And of course, RPG Digest is live stream. I can't do this one quickly. Let's try this again. Okay, one more time. Cut and action. RPG Digest is a live stream podcast discussion, not a concise step-by-step tutorial. We may deviate off topic and go on tangents. Enjoy. And cut. All right.
Scene. Good job. Okay. Now, as Mark Hawkman was saying, yes, we ran into some edition problems during our Friday night play because one of the players had the older book instead of the Rift's Ultimate Edition. And RPG is Dumb was running off of the Rift's Ultimate, this one right here, the Rift's Ultimate Edition.
And do we need the book up today?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We definitely do. And we're going to page 282, PDF page 282.
Oh, right.
Or PDF search 282.
Hold on. Let me see. I was prepared, but not prepared. That's screwed. I can do it this
not
way.
Prepared.
So not prepared. You know what? For this, a 282?
Yeah.
So 285 probably. Oh, nope. Yeah, that's 282.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we looking for? Oh, the low attribute thing? Okay.
Attributes below average. Now, this is something that for the entire year, we've gone over a half dozen at least Palladium games. And none of them had any kind of detriment to low attributes except figured characteristics like carrying capacity, hit points, stuff like that, but nothing directly tied to the attribute. You could have a 3 physical prowess. You get no minuses to strike, no clumsiness, nothing like that. 3 is the same as 15. 10 is the same as 12. 5 is the same as 14. It's
really important to say that, because even though you can use those in certain aspects, like I made sure that my character had a high MA, because I felt that as the leader of the group, supposed leader, the captain at that point of the group, I wanted to have an MA, but my MA was 15. So in reality, what did that mean?
Same as 3. Yeah,
right.
But in anything but Rift's Ultimate, it would be the same as 3. But in Rift's Ultimate, we're going to find out that is not true. Now, we're going to go. Now, this is the most fundamental change. Of course, throughout the editions, there have been changes to number of attacks per round. How many SDC you get for certain skills. That has changed too. But to me, these are more minor. Not so much the attacks per round, but number of SDC you get for having a skill, number of bonus attribute points you get for skill. This has gone up and down by 1 or 2 throughout editions as well. That's not very major to me. This right here is unprecedented in everything else we've covered the entire year of Palladium games. So this, I believe, is very important to actually look at to see what they've done. And to tell the truth, I don't agree with 90% of this garbage. I do not agree with it.
Really?
I believed that the strength of Palladium games was that there was no detriment to having low attributes. It sets yet another roadblock in the mind of players who think that I can't play any low attribute character. It's just a waste of my time. I'm not going to have fun. But
Fair.
Palladium threw that in your face and called bullshit up until now. So we're going to go, what is a low attributes? What are the attributes?
Before you start this, got a question. Do you think because of when this book came out, do you think that it was to capitalize on some more, because there seems to be like this little pendulum swing or sine wave of simulationist versus gamist, right? Do you think that this could have been a sign of the times that as he was writing it, that things were moving in a more simulationist direction?
I don't care what his thought process was. It's wrong.
Fair. Okay.
I don't give a shit. But what I want you to do is scroll up one page, because I want to look at the definition of the attributes, so we're on the same mindset here. There you go. Attributes below average. Start there.
Attributes. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
So these are the ranges of what is considered superhuman, exceptional, above average, average, below average, crappy, shitty. Oh my God, how are you breathing? This is pretty much how it goes down. So any stat above 30 is considered superhuman. In other Palladium games, you cannot get a stat above 30 unless you are some kind of superhuman or some kind of robot or cybernetic organism or whatever. The game does not allow you to. So most of the times, unless you have a superpower, which there are maybe one or two in all of Palladium, that increases your IQ, you cannot have an IQ above 30. You can't. Unless you have superhuman strength or higher, you cannot have strength above 30 in many games. But this is Rifts. This is a high magic, high technological thing. This is where everything goes. So anyone can have a stat above 30 just because everyone's breathing magic like freaking Spice from Dune in the air, and everyone has blue eyes at some point. So there you go, right? So you can get above 30. So usually you need to be a juicer, a cyborg, what do you call it? A headhunter with cybernetics, crazy, whatever. You have to have some kind of magical or technological augmentation that allows you to get above 30. Otherwise, it's very, very rare to do it with normal rolls and normal skills. You absolutely can. If you roll 3d6 and roll all 3 sixes, that's 18. You get another d6, and that's 24. And if you roll a 6 on your second die, you get to roll again. You can roll a 6 again. That's 30. You get one skill that bumps that up even by +1. That's considered superhuman. It's possible. It's possible. Is it likely? No. Keep dreaming. But it's possible. So we go on to the next one, which is exceptional. Anywhere that's 17 to 30. 17 to 30 is considered exceptional. Every single stat except speed, if it's exceptional, gives you a bonus of some kind. Is it useful for your character? We don't know, because whatever your OCC is, will determine the most useful characteristic, the most useful attributes for your character. So we don't know, but you'll get a bonus of some kind. And then we have 14 to 16, which are well above average. 16 will give you a bonus. So some people say it should be considered exceptional, but you can't start out with a 16. That's impossible.
That's right.
It is impossible to start off
with dice rolls.
You
can do it configured.
You're rolling your attributes first. You cannot roll a 16. It's impossible to roll a 16, because if you roll a 16, 17, or 18, you immediately roll another d6 and add it on, which means you can't have a 16. So they put it in well above average. And then we have the average range, which is 10 to 13. Nothing wrong. No bonuses, no minuses, no nothing. This is how it works, just flat out. And then we have the attributes which are in the 7 to 9 range. These are unimpressive. At 7, you start getting detriments. We're going to get into that. But usually 8 or 9,
Unimpressive and having detriments kind of does not align up.
No,
Just
no, it
unimpressive
doesn't.
just means like, eh.
Yeah. So I'd 7 should be in the 7 and under instead of 6 and under. It should be added to that. So, but if you have 6 and under, it's considered you're deficient in some way. Depending on what attribute is this low, you are deficient. So, and then it goes to the next page, gives an example about how to role play this. It gives you the idea that, hey, you can re-roll your stats all over again because rolling stats is literally the first thing you do when creating a character. So starting over is not a huge detriment at this point. You're just redoing a couple of minutes. That's it. So you can re-roll, but you can also decide to role play this character. And not only can you role play it and it'll be awesome. This is a whole big example of an example character that was role played well and everyone had fun doing it. But to add a cherry on top, there is bonuses for having low attributes. If you have an attribute below 7, one attribute below 7, you can add D4 plus 3 to any other attribute.
So if I rolled a 17, a 22, an 18, a 15, 14, man, that's pretty damn good. But you know what? I have that 1 7 in there, so I get even more.
6.
Huh?
Has to be below 7.
Oh, below. Okay, I got that 6,
7.
which is actually what my character had. My character has a 6. I get to roll even more. You only have 3 crazily exceptional stats, but you know what? Why not have some more points for it?
There you go. Yeah, I do not agree with this at all. This is stupid. I don't like it.
I think it's because Riffs is supposed to be overpowered, kind of gonzo cartoonish.
But part of what makes it overpowered is that, the low stats don't matter. They're not going to take away from you. And when we get to it, you're going to see they take away from a lot. If you have 2 or more stats below, you're jumping the gun. Go back to where you were. 2 or more stats below 7, you get a 1d4 plus 5 instead of plus 3, and another attribute gets a flat bonus of plus 3, or you get a plus 2 to all perception checks. You get to choose plus 3 to a second stat, or
hey, we could have used that.
Yeah, we could have used that. I was rolling really crappy for perception.
Oh crap! What page were we on again? I scrolled the wrong way here. 285.
282.
That page. Now it's not moving. It's frozen. There, come on, you can do it. There we go. Wow.
Pro streamer people.
No, it's actually the computer doing this right now. I can't do shit. Look, you can see I slid the bar over and it's not moving. There we go. Somewhere around here. I may have to stop sharing for a second. What the hell is going on? Am I still streaming?
Yeah, you are.
It's not moving at all.
You want me to do mine instead?
No, I'll be good. Yeah. As soon as I stop sharing, it was good. Now I can come right back.
Okay.
Boom. All right.
All right. So I don't agree with any of this. The only problem is, unlike many other areas of Palladium, where it says GM's optional, nowhere does it say this is optional. Nowhere does it say this is a GM's call. Nowhere. This is now part of the flat rules. This is now part of the basic mechanics of the game, which is ridiculous.
All right, let's hit some chat before we go
over
into
how ridiculous this actually is.
The specifics are. So I have 4, 3 from the same person. So Weird Guy says, Smith, this was sorely lacking. The only attributes that mean anything were highest attributes. That's one of the features of D&D I loved, was the scale of bonuses, not just high. Now, before you comment, let me skip down to this one. I always hated that Palladium didn't have these below average stat penalties. These should have been in the game from day one.
I completely disagree, because the wussy players of today, they will see one low stat and just reroll. Nope, not playing it.
Or my character sucks.
It sucks. I got a 6. It sucks.
I mean, we've seen people in our Discord chat say, well, I just start every character with an 8.
Exactly.
Like, well, what the hell's the point of...
Yeah, I mean, there are so many people out there that don't roll 3d6 like they're supposed to, but they actually roll 2d6 plus 6. So they have a minimum of 8. They do that. And like, oh no, that's fine. No, it's not fine. It's not fine. Stop it.
I will finish up with another comment from him that says this for $5. Thank you very much, weird guy, for the $5. So he says, Max, would you play Rifts as a House Leon mech warrior? And what mech is your ride? Well, I kind of am doing that right now. In a way, it's not House Liao, but no, I don't mix genres like that. I keep BattleTech and BattleTech. I keep Rifts and Rifts. For me, Rifts is way too gonzo. BattleTech is almost the exact opposite. It's like the anti-gonzo, which is actually why I like BattleTech over Robotech back in the day. Is I didn't like ninja mechs. I liked walking, thundering, boom, boom, weapons, platform, tanks. And that's why, even though I had played Robotech, I picked up on BattleTech more. Like, it's just ended up being my thing. Now,
well, I like it that they have an explanation for that because of the use of protoculture allows that. I like to have an explanation for it, but if you don't like the actual mechanic, then I understand.
Yeah, right. So, no, I wouldn't do anything like that. I would try to play Rifts as, the setting that it is. That's just me. Your mileage may vary on that one. So, and my ride would be a Vindicator. Like, there you go. I mean, why would it be anything else? Compelling Confederation, pure Compelling Confederation mech, and don't give me this Raven or Cataphract nonsense. No, that's after somebody finally took a look at Compelling Confederation and said, no, I'd do the real, true deal. Crafty says, by the way, thanks again for the $5. Crafty says, I had trouble watching the game due to a hum in the audio feed that hurt my ears. I didn't
hear that at all. Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah, nobody else has complained about that. So yeah, let's make sure.
Maybe we were doing it live. Maybe there was something wrong with the recording software, and now that it's on YouTube, it's doing that. It's possible.
Yeah, nobody's complained in the comment section. Nobody's complained, but I mean, I guess I can take a look at that.
Crafty's complained. That's one.
He said watching that was during the time. I bet you somebody's just going. Anyway, and finally, Aaron Dragon. I'm still not used to your new name, sir. Says, nice. I can roll a 6 and end up being so dumb that I can have super strength.
Actually, we're going to find out in just a second that having a 6 IQ in Rift's Ultimate is a bad idea. There is no bonus in the mechanic that makes up for what you're losing.
But he can have super strength because he can add that 1d4 plus 3.
1d4 plus 5, yeah. 1d4.
Or 5 if it's 2 of them, yeah.
Oh, if he has 2, yeah. Okay, 1d4 plus 3 at least, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for those comments. And now I can't take, there we go. And now we are going to have Heathen Dog
now we're going to
no, I'm sorry. Before we move on, there's one other thing I did want to say. No, I'm going to wait until after I do have a comment to say after the IQ section.
Okay. So the following penalties are for low attributes. We're going to start with IQ because we're going from top to bottom. If you have an IQ of 7 or 8, it means the character is a little slow, has trouble learning. Your comprehension is roughly equal to a 12 to 15-year-old. Here's what happens to you. Reduce the number of OCC-related skills by half. Now, this is huge.
Yeah.
Depending on what OCC you take, you could have anywhere from 3 skills to 10 skills. So, you're going to want to choose your OCC carefully because you're going to burn out 5 skills or burn out 1 skill, because I went to the Palladium forums for this, and if there's a fraction, it rounds up. So if you have 3 skills, you lose half, it rounds back up to 2. So you only lose 1. And that's what happened to me. My character on the Friday night's game had a 7 IQ. So I lost 1 OCC related skill, but I get to add 1d4 skills to the initial set of secondary skills. And I rolled a 3. So I ended up netting 2 extra skills. And the 1 skill I took away didn't give me a related skill bonus anyway. So I ended up okay. I ended up all right. I ended up with 2 more skills than I would have had. I didn't lose any percentages. It's fine. It worked out great. But that is where it stops. That's where it absolutely stops. Because if you have a 5 or 6, go to the bottom. There you go, 5 or 6. Means you're retarded. five or six, you have mental deficiencies that are considered significant. Reduce the number of OCC skills by 4. Stop. Hard stop. Losing any of the base OCC skills means you are not your OCC anymore. You cannot function completely as your character class. Those are your core skills. Losing any of them means you suck. And you shouldn't be playing that skill. You should not be playing that class. You should re-roll at this point.
How can you be considered a professional in whatever that OCC is? We'll just say job, whatever that job is, if you lose half of your skills. I mean, it might not be half, but okay, we'll say a quarter of your skills. If you don't have 25% of what is required to be a professional in that career field,
how can you be considered a professional? You can't.
I'm sure it's supposed to be one of those things where it's like, well, then don't take it. Then I get that, but still, like, why would I don't care if it's just dumb grunt, and I'm not busting on the army here, but I'm just talking in the generic, stereotypical sense of how these games can sometimes be a Starship Troopers type thing. Me stupid, just point me direction, I go. You still can't even do that fully effectively. You're just cannon fodder because you will lose certain skills. You're gonna have to, make these trade-offs for those skills.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem. It says it loses 4 OCC skills. Mm-hmm. Now, you said dumb grunt. Let's see what dumb grunt is. How many OCC skills do the dumb grunts get? Let's find out.
What are you using for the grunt? The mercenary?
No, we're going to use the CS grunt. Where is he? Trying to find the actual page. Shifter, Techno Wizard, Coalition Military, Coalition Grunt, page 231. And OCC skills, number of OCC skills is, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So you lose 4 out of 15. That means you have 11 left. That's not so bad. You think, oh, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. But the thing is, most of those are weapon proficiencies. So you're going to hurt into your actual function, which is firing weapons and killing folk. That's what grunts do. You could lose bodybuilding, climbing. You can't lose military etiquette. You're going to lose 1 of 3 pilot skills.
Well, I don't know. Somebody's got an intelligence of 5 or 6. Maybe we don't want them driving stuff.
Yeah, or maybe not. Or hand to hand. You start off with expert. Guess what? If you lose that, you lose it. And a lot of OCCs have around 8 OCC skills. So you're losing half. That's crazy, absolutely crazy. And not only that, you reduce all of your bonuses by half. All of your OCC bonuses, your OCC skills, the thing you train for years to do, you get a one-time bonus to its base percentage. So if you have if you're a headhunter and you have tracking, you get a plus 20% to tracking because it's part of your core skills. Now it's only plus 10. So not only are you losing 4 of your core skills, but all the rest of your core skills are crappy or crappier because you're too dumb. Oh, but you get 1d4 plus 2 secondary skills to make up for that. No, there's no making up for that because most secondary skills are so limited in what you can choose that you can't get those lost skills back. And they don't have any bonuses, because they're self-taught. So you are now highly deficient. Not only that, but you literally cannot take advanced skills. Any skill that has a prerequisite, you cannot take. You can take basic mechanics or automotive mechanics, but you cannot learn locksmith, mechanical engineer, or aircraft mechanics because it has a skill prerequisite. It's considered a second tier skill, and you just can't learn it because you're too dumb.
Where does it say that?
Keep going.
I thought that was in the 3 to 4 area.
Stop. Nope. It's not 3 to 4. Go up. Stop. It's in parentheticals, i.e.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, I see it. Wow, for some reason I thought that was in the 3 to 4 section. Okay.
Nope. Oh, we haven't even gotten to that shit show yet.
Okay.
So at this point, if you have an IQ of 5, you reroll. That's it. There is no playing this character effectively. There isn't. Unless you really want to be a millstone or an albatross to your group. Unless you hate your group, you would reroll this. You'd reroll this character right now. Stop it. But that's not even the worst of it. Let's look at if you have an IQ of 3 or 4, which is doable, which is absolutely rollable. Indicates a feeble mind with a level of comprehension on par with a 4 or 5-year-old. This is
why do you want that person sitting in your group being an adventurer?
Watch this. Reduce the number of OCC skills by half.
Even indicates here that he recognizes.
If you're a grunt, you lose 11 divided by 2, round up. 6. So you lose 5 skills. 5 of your core skills right off the bat. And you lose a number of OCC related skills to a total of the number of OCC related skills to a total of 1d4 with no additional skills with level advancement. You lose all of your related skills except 1d4. Did I read that right? Or is that's just bananas?
Skills by half and the number of OCC related to a total of 1d4. Yes. So you could have
choose 1d4 of your OCC related skills as well. You lose the rest of them. And you get no additional skills with level advancement. Only OCC skills get a bonus, which is reduced by half. All of your related skills get no bonus whatsoever. Oh, you get to add 1d4 secondary skills plus 1 new one every levels 3, 6, 10, and 15. Not making up for it, stupid.
No, not even all.
The character cannot learn to read or write, and it's impossible to learn anything but the most rudimentary skills, mainly weapon proficiencies, domestic skills. I wouldn't trust this guy at cooking anything. Physical and wilderness skills. I would not trust this guy to track shit.
Well, he is half animal.
Maybe sensitive about people who make fun of him. Maybe. No, you're not going to be sensitive because you don't understand when people are making fun of you. You're just happy to be included.
Put your helmet on.
Everyone's laughing with you because you're retarded. And the next one is it shouldn't even be here because an IQ of 1 or 2, number one, you can't roll it. And number 2, if you have a magical spell or a sonic ability that decreases your IQ to 1 or 2, just stop playing. Just stop playing. No one in your group is going to feel bad about that. They're actually going to thank you for not ruining their fun. Because if you have an IQ of 1 or 2, you can select 1d4 plus 1 of your OCC skills to keep. You cannot keep any related skills, and you only get a total of 1d4 secondary skills, and you never get any more. Ever. Reduce the base skill proficiency and level advancement by half, rounded down. So when you get these skills, not only do you not get bonuses for them, you actually half their base percentage chance to succeed. And then as you gain level, you only get half of the bonus rounded down. So if your skill goes up by 3% every level, nope, not you. Yours only goes up by 1. 5, not you. 2. There's absolutely no reason to play this. None.
Unless it's a temporary setback.
Unless it's a temporary setback, but until then, don't play your character. Let the GM know that you're not gonna take this bullshit. An IQ of 1 or 2, actually an IQ of 3 or less is unplayable. 5 or 6, I would re-roll, and the only thing I would play is a 7 or an 8. That's it. Anything else is either ill-advised or absolutely unplayable.
Or you're making a mockery.
Or yeah, you're making a mockery of the game, and you're only putting the group in danger. That's what you're doing. You're putting the group in danger.
Before we move on to the next attribute, I've got some comments about this. Unfortunately, chat. I had these notes written down before chat. One thing that I guess I differ with is I actually do like. I like this conceptually. I do like there being meaning for there being low attributes. I'm with Weird Guy on this one. However, And as Weird Guy has put into chat, and I guess we could put that up before we move to the next week, because I have a few starred here. I did think when I went through this, when I was researching Palladium at the beginning of this year, end of last year, beginning of this year, for like that space opera thing I was going to try to write, it was something that caught my eye pretty quickly, that these penalties are too much. And I completely reworked how these penalties work. First of all, I only did at 3 and at 4 and 5. That was it. Those were the only places that there were penalties. And the penalties were actually minuses to experience points, or you required more experience points to level up by 5 or 10%. And your starting skills were minus, I think it was -2 and -5, if I remember correctly, or it might have been -5, -10, but I think I rescinded that because I thought it was too much. But so you did start with a little penalty, but that is it. Because you're still supposed, if you roll a 3, even in Dungeons and Dragons, if you roll a 3, you're supposed to be playable, viable. And I thought this was too much.
Yeah, 3 IQ is unplayable now.
Yes.
In Rifts, unplayable, absolutely unplayable.
So, anywho, let's hit some of this chat, and then we'll move on to the next one. So our battle mechs slow. They're not slow, specifically slow, but they're not like ninja bots.
They're not just agile.
Yeah, there you go.
They're not agile. Unlike Robotech mechs, which because of the protoculture has the mind of the pilot partially merging with the mechanisms that he's controlling. Rifts doesn't have that, so it's stompy robots.
Don't some OCCs have IQ requirements?
Yes.
Right. If you would never have a character like this that's a rogue
military intelligence officers, rogue scholars, rogue scientists, cyber docs, stuff like that. They all have a minimum IQ requirement that is well above any detriment zone. But not everybody wants to play that. I want to play a juicer. I want to play a crazy, which don't have IQ, or well, the juicer doesn't. But I want to play a CS grunt or a headhunter or a merc. They don't have IQ requirements. But
hold on, before I hit the next chat, I'm putting this one on the screen. As soon as it pops up over here. Come on, there we go. The rogue retard.
Yeah, that's basically right.
Next one, legionofmyth. IQ of 5 or 6 is the cap allowed to join the U.S. Marines. You're military, you tell us. No, Marines are actually pretty smart. I would tell you that I ran across more retarded people in the Army than I did the Marines.
Marines are smart, but the problem is they're trained to not think anymore.
Yeah.
They're trained to not use their brain in combat. They're just trained to follow orders and die horribly. That's their job, to be bullet sponges, which is sad.
Here, I thought this was an interesting one. How many people today combined make billions of dollars that are 100% inept at their jobs? Literally none. And in case, I'm a case like low IQ. Yeah, I'd agree. Make a different what? Unless awkward. You want the challenge.
Poorly worded.
Yeah. Okay, but I get what I wanted to focus on the beginning.
Unless you want the challenge. Well, no, you selfish bastard. If you have a 6 or less IQ, it's not you that's going to be challenged. It's your group, because you're worthless. You are not only not helping, you are a literal detriment to the rest of your group. You're being selfish and worthless. And I would not blame the group if they killed you in your sleep.
His character drowns through overnight.
Oops. Accidents happen.
I don't know why that rock was on his chest while he was underwater. Weird. No, but none of them. You're not a billion unless you're a trust fund kid, and that's the way you earn the money. You're not inept. You can't be inept and make $1 billion.
You'll make $1 billion being bad at something. You can't.
It's like people, and I'm not trying to get political here, but just in another concept. I don't care if you're President Biden, President Trump, President Bush, President whomever. He's too stupid. Well, Guess what?
He's not.
No, he's not, because he's in a position that apparently convinced a lot of people to vote for him. So, I think we sometimes use these terms like that because the person doesn't seem to work hard or doesn't. And that might be the case. He might not work hard. I've worked with a ton of people that are masters of getting out of work. You think they are the dumbest people ever. No, they're smart because they found out how not to work and still get paid. Okay, Heathen Dog. I like low stat penalties, but these penalties are a bit too much.
Oh God, this is the first stat, man. Buckle up. Buckle the hell up. Because we're going for a ride.
It's also different between playing heroes, champions, adventure, like in Dead Reigns and Rift, just a normie stuck in the mix. But this is Rifts, and that's one of the things that if
no one should be thinking of themselves as a normie playing Rifts. There are no normies. If you are an OCC, you should be completely cut above anyone who is not an OCC.
And finally, the last one is Aaron Dragon says, I always like Rifts for its non-simulationist gameplay. This kind of simulation doesn't feel like Rifts.
Yeah.
And while
Rifts is supposed to be high fantasy. Yeah. It's supposed to be super high
science fantasy.
So yeah, high science fantasy. You know, it's supposed to be like super high tech Thundar the Barbarian shit going on here. But when you start getting these ridiculous low stat modifiers, then you're bringing it back down. I don't like it.
I'm with Weird Guy on this. I think low stat modifiers are a good thing. These are just oppressive. That's probably a bad word to use, but yeah, whatever.
Mental affinity isn't as bad. Let's go to the next one. It's not as bad.
Mental affinity.
Mental affinity. This character has no charm or spark to his personality to make a favorable impression. Not very memorable, or any impression is a negative one. Loser, strange, jerk. Nobody is impressed by this character, and any moment he might have in the limelight passes quickly and is probably forgotten or overshadowed by something negative or someone else. Now, if you have an MA of 7 to 5, you are so ordinary that you're barely noticed or remembered. Penalties: minus 10% to barter, find contraband, intelligence, performance, public speaking, seduction, and sing. Minus 20% on interrogation. But you get a bonus, plus 5% on gambling, prowl, undercover operations, and surveillance, because no one cares about you, so you can get shit done behind the scenes. I like this. Because if you have an MA of 5, what if you don't have any of these skills that give you a minus 10%? I don't care. Then I don't care. This is only half of the time an actual detriment.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a hidden bonus. I'll take an MA of 5. Not only will I get a plus 5 on gambling, prowl, undercover operations, and surveillance, but I'll also get the plus 1d4 plus 3 to another stat for, in my mind, basically free. So we've gone almost a complete opposite of IQ. IQ was tremendously oppressive, whereas 7, 6, and 5 of MA, depending on what OCC you take, is actually a bonus. It's a low-key bonus. But let's see what happens when you go to 4 or 3. The character is treated like a loser and undesirable. Okay, we've gone from being ignored to now being labeled a loser. He can't tell a joke, maybe something of a grumpy complainer or a curmudgeon, like Max. Max has an MA of 4.
I do.
That makes the character more memorable, but not in a good way. You lose all your bonuses, and now all your penalties are minus 20% for the most of the skills, but minus 30 on interrogation and seduction. Chicks do not like you even more.
Why do you think I had to go to Japan?
That's right. He had to go overseas to get a wife because he's got an MA of 4. And apparently she didn't understand enough English to understand that he was not a catch.
I keep telling you, I ordered from a Russian mail order bride site, and they sent me this.
There you go. Now,
didn't even get what I ordered.
Just like all the other stats, this shouldn't exist. MA of 2 or 1 should not exist. You should just not be playing your character while these negatives are in effect. Just walk away from the table. Let's see what happens. The character has a personality of a rock, or a belligerent warthog. The things he says and does are always taken the wrong way. Can't tell a joke, or if he does, it's always harassment. That makes the character more memorable, but again, not in a good way. People try to avoid and ditch him, and or target him for pranks or trouble. In addition to the obvious, minus 20% to disguise if he stays quiet and doesn't make a spectacle of himself. Otherwise, his unpleasant, odd personality leaks through. Minus 50% to barter, find contraband, intelligence, interrogation, performance, public speaking, seduction, and sing. But it says here, the main problem is that even your party members want to ditch you. Making fun of you is considered good sport. All right. Why you would want to play this character is fucking beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. There is no reason to.
Again, I don't mind it for a temporary setback. I disagree with Heathen Dog in the aspect of just step away from the table. I disagree. I don't think you should play a character with these penalties that's permanent, even at the 3 and 4 level. Like I don't think at all. But for a temporary setback, some sort of psychic drain that's hitting you, whatever, I think it can make for a good role playing experience. Temporary.
Yeah. Now the thing is, so far in both IQ and MA, we have found stats where if you roll this, you can roll them, and it made your character unplayable. If you have a 3 or 4 MA, your character is unplayable. If you have an IQ of 5 or less, your character is unplayable. And this is coming from the guy who didn't before now, who actually believed in Palladium, no character is unplayable based on stats. Well, Rift's Ultimate proved me a goddamn liar. They went and changed the rules and made it so a character out of the gate is unplayable and should be re-rolled.
I'm going to be very pedantic for a second, but only because I have to be for chat. And then I'm going to agree with you.
Okay.
Still playable. I've seen tables do nonsense like this, whether directly or indirectly. With that said, they're usually either really inexperienced tables or they're people that I would say, and this is my term, that don't respect the game.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm with Heathen. I'm not quite as hardcore about it, but I'm with Heathen Dog on most of this.
All right, mental endurance. Here we go. Here's where, because it's Rifts, we have problems. If it was Heroes Unlimited or Ninjas and Super Spies or Robotech or anything like that, not as bad. Not as much of a detriment. But because it's Rifts and horror factor is important, just like in Beyond the Supernatural, horror and Nightbane, horror factor is important. This gets bad real quick. If you have an ME of 5 to 7, you're a -3 to save versus horror factor, -2 to save versus illusions, -1 to save versus any battle of will whatsoever, -1 to save versus psionic attacks and mind control, magical, psionic, or drug induced, doesn't matter, and -1 to save versus insanity possession, -10% penalty to the skills of barter, interrogation, performance, public speaking, seduction, and undercover ops. This does not make your character unplayable. This makes your character somewhat of a liability, but still playable.
Know your role.
Exactly. Still playable. Let's see what happens with things we can actually roll, like 4 or 3. -6 to save versus horror factor, -4 versus illusions, -3 against any battle of will, -3 to save versus psionic attacks and any mind control whatsoever, -2 to save versus insanity, -3 to save versus possession. Also suffers from one phobia. Pick one described in the insanity section. The only good thing is you get to choose it. You don't roll, you choose your phobia. The character spills his guts after 2d4 minutes of any interrogation and is a terrible liar. Only a 15% chance to tell a convincing lie. Similarly, he is susceptible to seduction, plus 20% bonus.
Yeah, that could be okay.
And intimidation. That's bad. -30% on barter, interrogation, performance, public speaking, seduction, and undercover ops. Now, with the -6 to horror factor and the minuses to all the psionic and magical mind stuff and all that crap, in Rifts, I would say he is on the line of being unplayable. On the line.
This is the guy where you tell him that gullible doesn't exist in the dictionary. He goes and looks it up.
Yeah. Yeah. He is on the line of being unplayable. On the line. There's arguments to be made that it's still playable, but there's many more arguments to say it's not. Now, ME of 2 or 1. Obviously, this shouldn't exist. If you have an ME of 2 or 1, you should just be in the corner crying all the time. -8 versus horror factor, -6 illusions, -6 psionic attacks, -5 versus insanity, -6 for possession. Also suffers from 1d4 plus 1 phobias. Now you got to roll randomly or pick them.
You're worse than a crazy.
Worse than a crazy. At level 1, you could have 1d4 plus 1 fuck you. Actually, no. A crazy gets one phobia at level 1.
Yeah.
And so does someone with an ME of 3 or 4.
Yeah, but this is 2 or 1.
Yeah.
It has 1d4, but this is worse than a crazy.
You can't roll this. You literally can't roll this. So
Yeah,
this has
true.
to happen to you.
Yeah, true.
Character spills his guts after 1d4 minutes of any interrogation and cannot tell a lie. Can't. It's impossible to lie. susceptible to seductions plus 40%, intimidation plus 30%, cannot even perform the skills barter, interrogation, performance, public speaking, seduction, or undercover ops. Now, this isn't as game breaking, but I would not want to play a character with an ME of 4 or less. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to. Could you?
Neither would I.
Yes. Could you? Yeah. There is argument to be made that even a 3 can be played. I will cede to that. Would you have fun? Probably not.
Again, if it's a jokey type game,
then there you go. But the very first supernatural creature you come across, you're going to fail your horror factor roll, and you're not going to be able to help your party at all. And every woman, every barmaid is gonna rake you over the coals, take all your money, give you,
and you're not even gonna get the good parts of that.
You're not even get the good parts, which are all the STDs, which for you would be a badge of honor.
Oh, not even that, just the blinking, like, hey, if you want to put something in the tip jar, she'll just be like, hey, put money in there. Okay. Now get out of here. Okay.
And she will convince you that means you got lucky.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to physical strength. Now, this one isn't as breaking on the surface, but we'll actually find out. The reason being is because physical strength, physical prowess, physical endurance are the easiest to raise using skills. So you could dig yourself out of this hole. You can literally dig upward on this one. So let's find out.
Okay.
The lower the number, the scrawnier, the more defenseless the individual. The PS times 10 pounds formula applies and will severely limit how much the character can lift and carry. Intelligence, cunning, treachery, magic, and science can compensate for a puny character. So will a powerful gun, as long as it's not
if you can handle the recoil.
Yeah, as long as it's not a big gun or has recoil. Penalties for a physical strength of 5 to 7. No damage bonuses. Duh. Oh, from hand-to-hand combat skill. So your hand-to-hand combat, basic, expert, martial arts, assassin, whatever, you can still get it, but you're going to get no damage bonuses from that skill no matter what level you are. No damage comes from that skill. You can't. OCC or even the weapon itself apply to characters this physically weak. So there is no bonus for damage through your OCC, through your skill, or from the weapon. Ever. So that's it. All your weapon proficiencies for hand-to-hand weapons, at a certain level, you get bonuses to strike. You're good. Bonuses damage. Never. Ever. Is this game breaking? No. Is this significant? Yes.
I could see a rogue scholar.
Yeah, I could see it. This is not game breaking here. This is not going to break your character, depending on your OCC. I get it. And your throwing range is reduced by 25%.
Do you know any game masters that actually pay attention to that?
What, throwing range?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It depends. I mean, if you're at a current day based game and you have grenades, then this becomes important.
I don't think I've ever had anybody. I mean, to be fair, I probably haven't been in the situation where I've needed it, but I've never had anybody say, how far can you throw that?
Fair. Let's see what happens when you have a physical strength of 4 or 3. Reduce physical damage by half. Not only do you not get bonuses ever, but now your base damage is reduced by half. So for most Palladium games, that's either a D4, D6, roll it, and then subtract half. Okay. That sounds bad.
You may as well coin flip that punch.
Yeah. Reduce throwing range by half. Still, depending on your OCC, not breaking. 1 or 2. Character inflicts only 1 point of damage from punches. And 1d4 damage from kicks. Even melee weapons in the hands of this character inflict half their normal damage. No bonuses apply and reduce throwing ranges, by 75%. So this right here so far is the only stat 4 or below that I would even think of keeping.
And even then, only in special circumstances.
And only if the OCC I wanted to play was a specific variety. Now, what can they do to me on physical prowess? Holy crap, let's find out. The character with a very low PP has poor hand-eye coordination, is graceless, tends to handle things roughly, is a clumsy klutz, walks like an elephant, heavy footsteps. 5 to 7. -1 initiative, big deal. That is a big deal. You don't get a bonus till initiative till after 32.
Right, okay, it's a big deal in combat, I get that, but as far as normal gameplay goes,
well, we haven't gotten that part yet. -2 to strike, parry, and dodge. In level 1, that's you don't even get a bonus to strike in level 1 most of the time. So you're starting with a -2. Shit. Parry and dodge at level 1, if you get an expert or higher in hand-to-hand combat, you get a +2. Well, guess what? Negated that. That's done. Disarm, entangle, pull punch, roll with punch, impact. You get -2 on all of those. Out of the gate? That's horrible. -15% penalty on skills that require a high level of manual dexterity, like, say, I don't know, mechanics, electronics, gymnastics, forgery, pickpockets, palming, prowl, dance, etc. Any physical skill, mechanical skill, electronic skill, or what do you call it? Rogue skill that involves your hands, basically. You get a -15%.
You do not want this guy to be your surgeon.
No, -15% right off the top. That's crazy. And then a -10% all other skills requiring any manual dexterity. No penalty on mental skills like language, literacy, lore, whatever. Oh, thanks, buddy. Don't worry, I got the 5 IQ to back that one up. No. This one right here, depending on again, not game breaking, but depending on your OCC, I would reroll.
Yeah, and also depending on the campaign, because if the campaign is going to be combat, then this is game breaking. If it is going to be more investigative behind the scenes, where you can be sitting in a chair being a computer hacker or something, you know what? You can play that fat dude sitting back going, okay, I'll fly this for you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you know, if you're playing a rogue scholar or a city rat, maybe a city rat has to fight. Sorry, rogue scholar or a magic user or a psionic of some kind, you can get away with a 5, 6, or 7. You can get away with it. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can get away.
My only caveat being if you're in a constant run and gun type campaign.
Yeah, then that's not going to work out. You're just going to die. Now, especially if you have a 3 or 4. A 3 or 4, in my opinion, at level 1 is unplayable, mainly for the -3 on initiative, reduce all combat bonuses by half. That means in any combat whatsoever, a -3 to initiative is huge. The reason it doesn't sound like it, right? It's only -3. You're rolling a D20. It's only -3. The reason it's huge is because you don't get bonuses in initiative for high physical prowess until after 32. That's how significant initiative bonuses are. If you get initiative bonuses, you have to pay a heavy price. At level 1,
once again, I like what he's going for here. I think they're just too extreme.
Yeah, these things are too extreme. To get even a +1 or +2 bonus on initiative, you have to burn away your life or your sanity being a juicer or a crazy.
Yeah, maybe that's the point.
So
now that I think about it, this isn't so bad. Well, there's one other aspect to this as well. Physical attributes are the easiest to raise.
They are, exactly. So if you burn a lot of skills into wrestling, boxing, weightlifting, training, wrestling,
everyday gymnastics,
you can get that 3 to an 8. It is possible. It is definitely possible. But why waste 4 skills just trying to dig yourself out of a hole that you shouldn't be in the first place? I don't get it. Reroll it. 4 or 3, reroll. There's no point. 1 or 2, I'm not even going to read that. That's just stupid.
Okay, let's hit some chat. So we're about halfway through, I think. Wait, no, we have one more, then we'll be halfway through. Let's do one more.
Yep.
Oh, what the hell is it?
So, physical endurance. No, I'm not reading that. That's garbage. 1
Why?
and 2 shouldn't exist. Just don't play.
Oh, no. I was trying to find, I thought you meant physical endurance. I was just trying to find it and realize we were at the end of the page. So here we go.
Physical endurance. A character with a P of 7 or less has a weak constitution, making him more susceptible to fatigue, disease, poison, and magic than other characters. Okay, here we go. Penalties for a 5 to 7 physical endurance. -2 to save versus disease. -3 to save versus drugs and poison. -3 to save versus magic. -5% to save versus coma and death, and fatigues 25% faster than the average person unless he can take frequent breaks. This, not game breaking. Is it a bigger detriment than it should be, in my opinion? very much, especially that -3 to save versus magic. That's crazy. In Rifts, that's a lot. That is a lot. Magic
It seems like
is
there's no
thrown around
gradation
here
in this,
like
right?
what's that?
Seems like there's no gradation in this. Like,
No, there
where's the
isn't.
-1? You know, can
No.
we start with a
Yeah,
-1?
can we start with
then
something minor? Because this -3 to save versus magic in Rifts, where spells are thrown around like seed from a broken bird feeder, that's a lot. So let's go to 4 or 3, which again, you shouldn't play. This is why. -6. It went from 2 to 6. What the hell? What happened to 4? What the hell happened? -6 save versus disease, -5 save versus drugs and poison, -4 save versus magic. Well, at least they didn't go to -6 save versus magic, but still, -4 is a lot. -10% save versus coma and death. Fatigue's 50% faster than the average person. The duration of illness and side effects from drugs lasts 25% longer. 60% chance the character is also a hypochondriac and has a phobia. Roll for each. You got to roll a 61 or higher to not be a hypochondriac and a 61 or higher to not have a phobia about disease and germs. You have to roll both. What the hell?
I don't have a problem with the hypochondriac thing. I think it makes sense.
No, you're not a hypochondriac. You literally are sick all the time.
Well, fair. Okay, you know
So
what? Good
the hell's
point.
the point? That's impossible. You can't be a hypochondriac and still be sick all the time.
Yeah, I stand corrected on that. That's a good point.
Yeah. If you're -6 to save versus disease, you have a cold all the time.
Oh my God. Could you imagine the allergies this asshole has?
Oh my God. Hay fever. You just kill yourself. Just kill yourself. This right here is a 4 or 3 is unplayable and unrole playable because you're going to have to role play being sick all the time. Or else you're not playing character.
I mean, Rayson, the guy who played Rayson, got put in a novel.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. 2 or 1, not even going to read it. Not even going to read it. It's just too ridiculous.
Okay, so we're halfway.
Okay.
I only have a few. So Mark Hockman says, often speculated this is because of not wanting players to min-max and dump a stat they don't need by reducing it below the penalty line. I get that conceptually, but you still have dump stats. I mean, you still have to put that 5 somewhere, right?
It's not speed anymore, I'll tell you that. We haven't gotten speed yet.
It's fair,
it's no longer a dump stat.
It's funny, is I made speed my dump stat because I saw that I automatically, as part of my OCC, got running.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, there we go. 46, I'm good. Or I'm sorry, 44. Yeah, you know, there might be some truth that I'm not adverse. Again, going to the beginning of this, you know, Eric Dragon said that he doesn't like the simulationist side. I get that. Hidden Dog has said that he doesn't like this. I do like it conceptually. I think that they're overbearing though. Like let's have minor grade. Yeah, absolutely. Way too severe. I still should be able to play the character with the 3. You know,
but
and I think we've kind of looked at
one instance is a 3 actually playable that we've seen so far.
Right.
Physical strength. That was it. That was the only one where a 3 or 4 was playable.
Paleo says, I love how on Palladium you can raise attributes with good skills. Yep. And
mostly
we mentioned
physical attributes. It's very, very difficult to raise mental attributes in Rifts. Mm-hmm. Difficult. Not impossible. Difficult.
But it is a good point where you've said on almost every time that we've gone through the skill system or character creation system, that's like, hey, it's okay to have a low attribute because you can raise it.
Right.
You just put it in your strength.
You can choose to be a juicer or a crazy, and then you have minimums of 18 or 19. It just raises your stat to the minimum. That's fine. That is a cure.
Weird Guy says, as a GM, I would make up my own penalties for low stats or change rules to roll a d20 under your attribute to do something not covered by the rules or skills. There is kind of a rule for that already in the game.
That just proves that these rules are stupid. People are like, I like the idea, but it's implemented all wrong. I'm gonna do my own thing. Well, that's called homebrewing. You can do your own thing anyway.
Yeah,
it's better.
Isn't there already a rule like that in the game though? I thought it was just percentile dice. It's your attribute times 5 or something like that, or attribute times 3.
That's in Call of Cthulhu.
I could have sworn I read it here too, but I might be wrong. All right. Hey, I clicked. I don't know. Max Stephen Hawking's in a voice-operated mech with small PP. Yeah, if you wanted to play that type of character, you wanted to play a Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something like that, it could be done, but understand that that has to be a campaign that fits that.
Yes. Yeah. You have to be able to thrive as a low budget Krang with a speak and spell. Sure, you have an IQ of 30. That's awesome. Good for you. But is it worth it? No.
And of course, Baldahar.
Oh God, yeah. No. If you have -6 to your save versus disease, you treat STDs like friggin' baseball cards. You're just collecting them all.
You're catching shit she didn't even have.
Yeah, she didn't even have it. It was on the pillow next to her. It jumped into your body.
Right. Let's go to the dump stat, physical beauty.
Physical beauty. This character is plain Jane or pug ugly. If you have a 5 to 7, you're -5% on gambling, intelligence gathering, performance, public speaking, undercover ops, and -20% to seduction. But you're +5% to interrogation.
Now,
Now,
halitosis came in with something.
exactly. The halitosis came in because like, oh God, stop talking. I got Tic Tacs in my pocket. Take as many as you want. I'll tell you whatever. Like, okay, fine. Now this one is another low key bonus. Just like the earlier, which one was it? The one that gave bonuses.
ME. Well, yeah, one of those two.
A low key bonus for 5 to 7. Depending on the OCC you take, this is actually a bonus. Now let's see what happens on 3 or 4. -10% on skills like gambling, intelligence gathering, performance, public speaking, undercover ops, and -30% to seduction, but +10% to interrogation skill and ability to intimidate.
You're so
You are
ugly.
so ugly.
Intimidating.
You are now scary. You are scary ugly. Now let's go to 2 or 1 because this gets down the rabbit hole. -15% on intelligence gathering, public speaking, undercover ops, -10% to prowl because you're so ugly people can't take their eyes off you. You are literally a walking, talking, slow motion train wreck. -40% to seduction. Even children cry when you come around. You can't pay a brothel enough money to allow you entry.
We don't serve your kind in here.
We don't serve your kind. What kind? Ugly. Note, +15% to interrogation skill, +5% to gambling, and +20% to intimidate. And you have a horror factor of 1d6 +9.
That's awesome.
This
+9.
is literally
That
Princess
is crazy.
Bride to the pain. You are the recipient of To the Pain. Women and children scream at your presence. Dear God, what is that thing? Will echo in your perfect ears. That's what you are if you have a PB of 1
I can open up a bunch of books. 1d6 +9 is higher horror factor than I'd say probably 30% of the monsters.
Yes. That's crazy. You could have a 15 horror factor. Your average supernatural creature horror factor, if he's scary, demon looking, is fucking 13.
Somewhere around there, yep.
Yeah. You're so ugly, you're scarier than a demon. This right here, depending on your character, the lower the better. The lower the better.
Yeah, if you're going to go ugly, go all out with it.
If you're going to go ugly, go 1 or go home. Turn into the skid. So we have found our dump stat. It's not speed. I'll tell you why. Penalties for a speed of 6 or lower, -1 initiative, -1 dodge, -10% dance, whatever, unless it's a slow dance. Okay. You're not going to have a slow dance because you're probably ugly too. A casual stroll is running or is at full tilt for this character. Bonuses, +5% to prowl, palm, and track, and +1 to perception rolls. You tend to be more observant because you're in the area for longer. It takes you longer to get through, so you have more time to look. That's the reasoning behind this. That's ridiculous. A smart character will compensate whenever he can by riding in or driving a vehicle using power armor, whatever. That's just 6 or lower. -1 to initiative, -1 to dodge. Again, that is harsh. That is harsh. Because the thing is, there is no bonus for high speed except running faster. So why is a detriment for low speed not just running slower, but -2 initiative and -1 dodge? It doesn't make sense at all. Doesn't make sense. You're already being punished because you're only moving 6 feet per, or 60 feet per round or something like that. For every 15 seconds, the maximum you can move at a full run is something like 60 feet. That's detriment enough. This is the classic. This is the example, more so than in my opinion, the rest of this dumpster fire of garbage. This is the example of being too harsh, because you get minuses for a low attribute, and no matter how high the attribute is, you don't get bonuses for it. That's crazy.
Okay, there are nuances to it, but for all the 8 attributes, this is the one that I think makes the most sense, and here's why. I'm not talking in all the specifics, but if you look at the core issues, -5, it starts at a -5. Makes sense.
-5, -10, -15.
Yeah,
That is a good ramp, and it's a good starting point, and it ends at a good ending point.
I mean,
Anything more severe than that would be too much. Anything less severe wouldn't be enough. You're absolutely right. Physical beauty is your dump stat. Everything else is too severe to be a dump stat.
Now, again, I want to say very clearly here, I like it conceptually. I know Aaron Dragon's like, this is too simulationist. I know Heathen Dog doesn't like it because as he mentioned earlier, the fact that you can't say it doesn't matter what your attributes are anymore. It could be a 3 or 15. It's the same thing. I like that there could be some penalties for some lower stats, as long as the penalties, I'll use the word again, are viable, or allow the character to still be viable. I think a bunch of these don't let the character be viable.
The majority of these don't. Majority. Like there are 6 stats here, and at least 4 of them, if you roll a 4 or less, reroll. There's no point in playing. There's no point, especially IQ. If you roll a 4 IQ, just leave.
Your character is probably locked up somewhere. You're not adventuring.
Just reroll. I mean, that's actually great if you're rolling 3d6 top to bottom, because you only rolled 1 time. Oh, starting over. Because IQ's first. It's like, oh, I got a 4 IQ. Nope, I'm starting over. Rolling IQ again. You only wasted 4 seconds.
I know there are other things to the book that were changes. Did you want to focus on any of those, or do you just kind of want to leave it at this? Okay.
This one was the one that really pissed me off. The other changes, like I said, 1 or 2 bonus here, 1 or 2 bonus there. It's not super game affecting. This one right here.
Some of the OCCs changed a little bit with regard to
the OCCs
skills.
Changed a little bit. And, obviously there are some OCCs that don't appear in the original Rifts book, like Elemental Fusionist and stuff like that shouldn't be played at all. I wouldn't have in my game. They just don't exist. But there's the Coalition States OCCs, which I think are necessary if you are making a coalition campaign. Absolutely necessary, because everyone else is too much of a free spirit to be in the coalition.
This is for you, not me. Oh, that's for you.
Next time you're live stream a Rifts game, I want to see you play a vagabond with all 3s. I'm never going to do that.
He's donating the super chat to that live stream fund.
Nope.
$5.
I'm not going to see that $5. Go to hell.
Well, that is true. That is true. You get the Twitch money. I get the.
Yeah. I'm not playing any Rifts character with a 3 or a 4 in a stat. I'm not playing it. I'm re-rolling. That's it.
But thank you for the $5.
Thank you.
It was a good suggestion. We'll put that out there for other folks. All right, let's get into our boom. That's right. Dun dun dun. I'll keep that on the screen so you'll think that this is a seamless transition, like nothing is happening in the background at all.
Nope.
And oh my God, where'd that come from?
Oh my goodness. It's movie magic.
Picked 3 comments from last week's where we talked about riffs and ley lines. Well, riffs, and riffs ley lines. There we go.
Got
it. First one is Alan Pollock says, "Hey guys, start listening. So I like the world of riffs, but a lot is clunky. Don't agree with that. I don't agree.
Hang on.
I get it. I don't agree with that though. So I decided that taking combat from Dark Heresy and modifying things to fit this world. Hopefully I can rework it well. The world is super interesting. My idea is to make the players play themselves, having been drawn into rifts. Okay, I mean, I can see that. Everybody does the trope once, right?
Yep.
We're not in Kansas anymore. Wait, or are we? What could be
Okay.
rifts, Kansas? Yeah.
All right. No, number one, everyone, like Max said, everyone has to play themselves once. After you do it, you're not going to do it again because it ends up being bad. And the idea of taking riffs and using a different system is offensive to me because Savage World Riffs is offensive to me. The fact that it exists is a blight on the world. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a reason for the continuation of global warming.
Okay. So I would say that you're playing Dark Heresy in a Rifts-like world. I don't have a problem with that. Make your whatever home brews you want.
But do not say you're playing riffs with Dark Heresy rules. Stop it. Stop it. That's exactly the same as saying, you know, a strawberry shake from Wendy's will make you lose weight. No, it's a lie.
And I don't think that the Rift system is clunky. And as an example, it's not the rules, it's the book. That's the problem.
The book is clunky. Yes. The book needs all these stupid changes for Rift Ultimate Edition wasn't necessary. The biggest change I want is formatting. You know, putting the rules and sections in the right order, rewording them, you know, to make them more understandable.
Clear, concise, consistent, accurate. Those four: clear, concise, consistent, and accurate.
Yes. If you have the Rifts does not have Palladium as a whole, the game system does not have those four attributes.
When it comes to rules,
yes. When it comes to
great narrative, great descriptions, wonderful settings. Even the Rift setting, even though I'm not a huge Rift fan, I still think the Rift setting is written wonderfully.
Yes. World building is astonishing.
Yes, absolutely. As far as the game rules go, now the game rules themselves aren't that bad. And here's the example I'll use. Go watch our Let's Play from last week. It's a Friday Night Chill Stream. You can find, we have a Friday Night Chill Stream playlist. Find the one that says we're playing Rift's Let's Play one shot or something like that, and just watch it. And I felt that the game kept moving.
Three of the people who were there, 2 or 3 of the people that had never played Rifts before.
Yep. I think one person, I forget who it was, at first was like, I don't know what I'm doing, so help me out, guys. What am I doing? It's like, no.
Sure.
Just roll the dice.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about everything that you're trying to try to fit everything into a mold of this rule versus that rule. No, just tell me what you're trying to do, and then I'll tell you if you need to roll dice or not. And all of a sudden, we were just all just doing stuff, and he'd say, okay, give me this roll, give me that roll.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as the new player understood that for combat and perception, you roll a d20. For almost anything else, you roll percentage. For damage, you roll the damage of the weapon. That's it. That's all you got to know. And you're going to roll the right dice. And then it's a game master's job to give you a target number. So you don't have to think about that.
With that said, though, if you want to run a Dark Heresy game in a Rifts-like world, hey,
it's your
have at
table.
it. Yep.
It's your table. That's fine.
Fat Gamer. Been a member now for 2 months, at least, because that's what the little chevron up there means. I do like the way Palladium handles time travel, but in my games, trying to change the past only ensures it happens. For example, going back and trying to assassinate Hitler is what caused his rise to power. I think that's a neat premise.
It is. But in Palladium, there isn't actually time travel. It's not real time travel. It's a Marvel Cinematic Universe time travel. You're actually going to another universe that has not advanced in time as much as yours. So any changes you make will not make changes to your universe, just that universe. But then it's the present, just like it's the present for you now. It's your past, but it's their present. It's very weird. Rewatch the Avengers Infinity War or whatever if you want another explanation for that. But in Palladium, you don't actually have time travel. You go to another universe that hasn't advanced in time as much as yours. And that's the answer.
Okay. I still like this conceptually, like you did everything you could to stop them, but in the end, you actually caused it. think that's a movie trope for some.
Well, no, it's the idea that paradoxes cannot exist.
Yeah.
Which means you cannot create one, so you cannot change the past.
And milk thistle, I don't even want to know what that name means. I just wish more GMs would run riffs where they actually focus on the riffs and related content instead of just yet another boring CS campaign. I need you to talk about that, because all of my Rifts games have been some sort of coalition campaign. With the one that you ran, the one that Bob ran, the one that I'm in now, the one we ran in high school, either was anti or pro coalition campaigns.
Yep.
Almost every one of them. Actually, every one of them. How would you do then? How would you do that? Wow. How would you then do a more magical psionic type game?
That's actually pretty easy. You start off in the center of the country as your base of operation, and you are, say, getting paid. You have a wilderness scout with you. You have a ley line walker. You have a psychic of some kind. You have a man at arms type of some kind, and you are explorers, and you are cartography experts or whatever, and you can travel to all these different areas that are rich in ley lines and magical energy, and the coalition has very little presence there. And it's all about surviving and increasing the knowledge of humanity by seeing how the world has changed. You're your own Aaron Tarn basically at that point. That's an easy campaign to run.
Okay. Well, there we go. Now, folks out there, if they watch this far, will have ideas on how to do that. Anything else you want to cover for segment 1, or do you think we're good to go?
No, I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, thank you, folks, for being here. I did all the proclivities at the beginning, so I'm not going to do it now, and we're just going to end segment 1 now.